only regrets we'll have from yesterday are the chances that we didn't take. So follow me away from all you know. You're scared to death and I'm scared to show it as the road keeps on rolling farther from the place that we called home. It's all static on the airwaves out here, but if you listen close, the music's loud and clear. The sound of restless wheels against the road, a U-Haul truck that's overloading, my dreams bigger than the western sky, a melody of bigger plans in harmony with second chances. Listen to the song that you hear tonight, 'cause this could be the soundtrack of our lives.
I'll write the verse and you write the chorus as the roll rolls out before.
Oh my goodness, we're excited to present these two exceptional independent singer-songwriters and up-and-coming country music and Americana artists. That's Jeneen Teranna singing for you right there. And J. Marc Bailey. Their combined talents offer an unforgettable music experience with a unique fusion of traditional country music with a refreshing contemporary flair. You can see them at a venue in your own small town at the Small Town USA Tour 2024, offering two distinct and exciting performance options. Option number one, the acoustic duo show. It's intimate and heartfelt. Jeneen and Marc blend influences like Casey Musgraves and the spirit of Chris Ledoux into a night filled with soulful storytelling and rich melodies. This stripped-back performance is perfect for a listening room environment where the stories behind the songs can shine. The second option is the full country rock show. Turns up the volume and the energy. The full band setup brings a vibrant country rock concert that caters to a crowd ready to kick in. This high-octane experience combines Jeneen's powerful vocals and J. Marc's dynamic stage presence for an unforgettable live music spectacle. Both show formats have received significant acclaim with strong Nashville roots and national recognition. Whether for a cozy acoustic evening or a lively amplified event with performances to suit any venue's ambience and audience expectations. Go to chair55.com and look at the artist section, then submit a booking inquiry. Jeneen has songs on Radio A1A. That's our A1A affiliate, traditional tropical station. And that song she has there is called Tequila. It's wonderful. On Cruisin' Country Radio, Jeneen has Callin' My Bluff, Tell Me Right Now, and Tequila. And on Paradise Road Radio, our beautiful inspirational station, that voice that Jeneen has rings out with songs like By Your Side, God, I Need Comfort, and See the Light. J. Marc has Weekend in Rio running strong on Cruisin' Country Radio. All country, all original, all the time. And both of them have teamed up for that amazing duet you just heard, Soundtrack of Our Lives, on Cruisin' Country Radio. Now, we'd like to welcome Jeneen and J. Marc. We're thrilled to have you here in the studios of Radio A1A here live today. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourselves and how you got started in the music industry, guys?
My name is Jeneen Teranna, and I got started in the music business kind of accidentally. I was pursuing musical theater and got kicked out of a class because I hadn't done some community service I was supposed to do. And that day I wrote my first song and started playing guitar at open mics terribly. And then was booking shows around New York City and just kind of took it from there.
How about you, Marc?
Oh man, I started as a drummer, and ended up with, and I was playing a ton. I started out when I was 9, and I ended up later on playing for 3 different bands and just drumming constantly 24/7. In fact, my first big major show out on the road was with Shane McAnally.
Ooh, wow.
So we were doing some stuff for him. And anyway, I ended up with carpal tunnel pretty bad in my wrist. And they said they could go in and repair it, but it'd probably come back if I kept at the pace I was at. So apparently I played drums wrong, I don't know. But so I ended up having to learn how to play guitar and sing. And I remember in my first show, they paid us $700. And I was standing on a piece of plywood in a park because it had rained the night before, and the sound wasn't great. It wasn't a big gig and stuff like that. And I remember getting done, and one of my very close friends came up and said, "Man, that was really cool, but you should never do that again. You can't sing." So all that did was light a fire.
Hey, and a fire that keeps burning today with a fantastic duo. But Jeneen, I'd like to talk about this Small Town USA Tour 2024. It sounds incredibly exciting. Can you share with us what inspired you guys to embark on this tour and what audience can expect from this performance?
Yeah, I think we really wanted to go back to small town values and small town community. And there's a lot of great things in small towns that you don't necessarily find in a big town. I lived in New York City for a very long time, and it was really easy to get lost there as an artist and just as a person, because there's so many people, and it's not the same as when you go to a small town and everybody kind of knows everybody.
Yeah,
and
right.
They get together to support events coming through, and they get together to help each other out with things and support the local businesses and things like that. So now I live in a very small town, and it's an interesting thing to see people come together, and businesses being supported by the community. And we really wanted to tap into those small towns and that feel of family in each town. And J. Marc can tell you a little bit more about how the idea got started.
J. Marc, what you got to say about that, my friend, this tour?
No, just to piggyback on what she said, we looked at it and booking this year, we've been really busy the last 2 years. Coming out of COVID, we were lucky. We stayed very busy. I think not last year, but the year before, we only had 2 weekends open from, April until November. And last year was not a whole lot different, but we did a lot of acoustic stuff where, we'd hit an airplane on Thursday, and we ended up playing Friday in some town, and then Saturday somewhere, and then Sunday home again to Nashville. And that was kind of the pattern for the last 2 years. And we played everywhere from, Kalispell, Montana to New York, and we were all over, and we loved it, but it was time to get back to playing, the full music with the band and getting out on the road and doing those things. And so we decided, as part of Small Town USA, which is something I think is really dear to both of us, but we also targeted radio stations that still had the ability to play music that wasn't satellite or dealt from the big labels and stuff like that. And those small towns actually also had the ability to, have venues and places where we could really connect. And the fan loyalty was something that was important to us.
Well,
our
Marc,
ability.
Yes, if you'll continue with the kind of a description, you offer 2 distinct kind of performance options. The acoustic, like you had mentioned, that you've really kind of gotten that thing all fired up, but the full band also kind of sounds exciting. Could you walk us through the differences between the two and the kind of atmosphere each creates for your audience?
Yeah. So the acoustic duo is something, here in Nashville, we've done a lot of songwriting showcases, and we've played all of them from, the local and the Commodore to the Bluebird and pretty much everywhere here. And that type of experience out on the road is something that it seems like is really becoming popular. So the two of us will go out with, it's nice because the two of us, we fly out with our guitars and, you know, personal microphones, and that's about what we take with us. And they set us up and go. And it's kind of a listening room atmosphere attitude,
Oh, yeah.
smaller crowd, but a real tight connection and the ability to talk with them and laugh with them and tell the stories behind the songs, which we love doing. And then the full band scenario, being in Nashville, we're spoiled. We can pull our road band from, you know, the A-list of players here in town. So that's going to be a lot of fun. These guys are guys that you show up to. You don't rehearse all year with them. You know, you can show up with them to 2-3 get-togethers and go out on the road and be more polished than if you'd been together for years. But we do have some key players that we love. We love spending time with and love playing with. And
Jeneen, your songs like Calling My Bluff and Tequila have been featured on Radio A1A and Cruising Country Radio. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind these tracks and kind of what they mean to you?
Yeah. Don't mind the flock of geese.
Oh, how
that just
wonderful.
landed.
Oh, how wonderful.
Tequila. So it's funny. I worked in a lot of Russian clubs in New York, and I drank a lot of vodka. but at one point, I switched to tequila. I was out one night and I had a tequila with 7-Up, and I was like, this was an amazing drink. But I ended up moving to Tennessee mid-pandemic, July of 2020, and I had been living in New York for a very, very long time. And you know, when you live anywhere for a long time, you have a lot of stuff. And moving 950 miles at any time is crazy. It's stressful, but at that time, you know, it was really extremely stressful. And I always joke that I made really good friends with tequila during that process, and it inspired actually a night in Nashville with tequila and some friends inspired the song, which is fictional, and it takes place in a seedy, dark bar, which we know of one really well. and it just, I don't know, it just kind of grew arms and legs, that song. And I write a lot of sad.
bar becomes better looking with every shot of tequila. So, you know.
So yeah, it was just you know, it was just a fun, like, fictional song that just kind of came to me during that whole time, that whole stressful, crazy time of moving states. And yeah, so that was the inspiration behind Tequila.
Oh, absolutely. Calling My Bluff, though. I mean, come on, man. What did you approach some guy and just call his bluff? Is that what you did?
No, actually, it's basically like the early stages of a relationship when you're really wondering, is this guy for real, or is he, you know, messing with me? And if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm gonna think that this is for real, you know, that this is love. So either stop it right now, or
Oh man.
or yeah,
wow.
or I'm gonna.
Jay, your weekend in Rio is something kind of unique for our country listeners, and also our tropical guys as well. The folks, the fans on Cruising Country Radio, what's the story behind this song? Why do you think it resonates so strongly with our listeners, man?
Oh man. Well, I had a period of time where I was spending a lot of time in Mexico, in Cabo, in Cozumel, and Playa del Carmen and stuff. I think I was down there probably 8 or 9 times. I actually was at Sammy Hagar's birthday party at Cabo Wabo 2 years in a row with some people down there. And I love the beach lifestyle to an extent, but I think that wasn't really what inspired it. I think what inspired it was, Kenny Chesney had, at that point in time, was when that song first came out, was just moving over to like doing some of the beach stuff and really introducing that back in and kind of becoming, I don't want to say a modern day Jimmy Buffett, because there's nobody like Jimmy Buffett. I mean, he was one of a kind, but kind of that influence of the music. And so, but I think more than that, it was also having in the past worked a white collar job and recognizing that I would rather be anywhere but there, and just wanted to have a weekend in Rio. And that was where it came from. And that song actually spent, I think it was almost 8 weeks at number one on some of the internet charts when it came out. And it was the first song that I played in a concert where I looked down and I could see the entire crowd in front of me singing the lyrics to that song back to me. And, which completely messed me up. I lost my place in the song. I couldn't sing anymore. We totally stutter stepped and had to restart and everything like that. But it did get to the point too, where I almost was tired of playing it. You know what I mean? And it's had a rebirth. Janeen's inspired the rebirth of Weekend in Rio. So
awesome,
yeah.
Man. Well, you've collaborated though, both on a song by the name of Soundtrack of Our Lives, which has received also fantastic feedback on Cruising Country Radio.
Cool.
Jeneen, how did this collaboration come about, and what was the creative process in this with the guy like J. Marc? Come on, tell us what in the world.
We call it East meets West. It was really kind of an unlikely duo, but we had collaborated on a show that he was doing a few months earlier, and he asked me if I would sing backup because his backup singer canceled out, and I said sure. So I learned a bunch of his songs really quickly, and when we got on stage together, it was like, wow, there's something magical that happened there on that stage. And when we got off the stage from that show, people were like, you guys need to collaborate on something. You guys need to do a project together. You need to do some duets or something. So, we had been thinking for the past few months how we were going to make that happen. And we did one duet together called Bring the Love Back that I wrote. And then he came to me with this song and he said, I think this could be a duet. What do you think? And I said, oh my goodness, for sure. It wasn't even originally a duet. And I said, you take the first verse, I take the second verse, and then we sing the chorus together. How about that? And when the first time we did it together, we're like, oh yeah, that's it. That's
Awesome.
That's our duet.
You both have ties with Nashville, and Marc, you both have national recognition. How do you feel your experiences in Nashville have influenced your music and your careers as independent artists?
That's a great question. I'll tell you, I cut my teeth. I'm originally from Utah. And so I grew up out there, rodeo environment, very, very Western culture. I grew up, my great grandpa was a sheep herder, and he homesteaded a bunch of land out there outside of Park City, and my whole family, hunting, fishing, all those things. And one of the biggest influences for me growing up on my music and me was Chris Ledoux, and he was huge out there. A lot of people haven't heard of him. Honestly, if you get east of the Mississippi and you say Chris Ledoux, they're like, they got a blank stare. But out there, if I got up to play a Chris Ledoux song in concert, the crowd would erupt and go wild. And I was lucky enough to actually have him mentor me and actually work with me, and got to be on some shows with him and stuff like that. And that was a really special experience. When he passed away, I was actually doing a song called Just to Hang Around, which was my first radio song. And Just to Hang Around, he was going to duet that with me. And he passed away before we were able to get his vocal on the song. So that was sad. But coming to Nashville, and sorry, long answer to a question here.
Oh, that's okay. It's good. We got all day long, man. It's great.
that Western kind of rock and roll, rodeo rock and roll is kind of where my music was anchored. And coming to Nashville, it forced me to write more along the contemporary lines, which was a real push for me. Songs like Deepest Blue, when we recorded that, that's more of a ballad George Strait style song, and that wasn't traditionally what I was used to singing. So I'm finding my ground somewhere in the middle. Nashville's made that happen. Jeneen and I sort of buck the system a little bit here in Nashville. I mean, we're here because we love the networking and love the people, and it's a great town. But I don't know that either one of our music actually fits the Nashville mold.
Right. Yes, indeed. I'd like to ask Jeneen a question, because when you speak about the money part of this thing, for venues interested in booking, to bring the checkbooks out and to book this tour, the Small Town Tour 2024, how would they do it, Jeneen? Can you fill us in maybe on how that might happen?
Yeah. So right now we've been working with a manager who's been really instrumental in helping us put this tour together. His name is Robert. You can reach out to Robert at chair55.com, and he can give you all the details on how to get us into your venue. We, love meeting people of all kinds and all kinds of venues. So if someone really wants us there, we'll find a way to make that happen. So, yeah,
Awesome.
They can reach out to Robert, and
Awesome.
we can get it put together.
Yeah, Robert's a good guy. We had an opportunity to talk a lot. His last name
Lost
is
your audio, brother.
Awesome. I'm with you. You there? As independent singer-songwriters, what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced? All right. How did we lose that? Can you hear me? Okay.
We can't hear you, Harry. We lost you.
All right. Listen, there she is again. We've had a power outage in the studio, but there's Jeneen coming to us from Buffalo, New York, up there, and her geese are there. What are some of the, as an independent singer-songwriter, and our stations and affiliates are 100% singer-songwriter, independent singer-songwriter music formatted. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in the music industry, and how have you overcome those things?
Yeah, I would say as an independent artist, the biggest challenge is trying to stay up to date on what's happening and the best way to execute things. Obviously the internet changed a lot, streaming music changed a lot. People being able to record more and better than ever independently has changed a lot. So just trying to really stay current as far as getting your music out there the best way possible, and also really knowing how to focus your time and energy efficiently on what is going to be the best way to get your music out there, because there's so many outlets and so many things that can take your attention and energy. So getting a plan together and trying to execute it consistently over time is that's probably the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Wow, that is quite an education for all of our singer-songwriters who listen on the stations. But finally, Marc, what would you say would be the next step for you guys after the Small Town USA Tour 2024? Are there any projects or collaboration that you and Jeneen are planning right now, Marc?
That's a great question, and I think there's several answers. I think we've been kicking around a duo project, like an entire album, that
Wow.
would be just duos with both of us, and we've had a couple of different ideas with it. We've had one where we go back and do things. I don't know if we just recut "Good Hearted Woman" by Waylon.
Did you?
Yeah. And we usually start the shows with that. People are loving that song. And if you listen to the lyrics and stuff like that, it's a fantastic answer and, call and answer song, conversational song. So we had a lot of fun with that. We've looked at doing maybe some other traditional classics that way, but also some of our own stuff too as a project. But I would say that. And then the other thing is both of us I feel like we're both back in the writing swing. And so I think you're going to see both duets and individual songs coming out from us over the next 6 months, if I were to take a guess.
Do you second that nomination right there, Jeneen?
Yeah. Yes, do all of it.
Awesome. Well, how often do the geese fly in there in Buffalo?
They've been all around since I've been here. I've been here a few days, and I went for a walk with my mom, and we saw geese and their little baby geese, and one mama geese was just laying there, and you could see little heads popping out under her wing. So they're all over right now, this area, for some reason. I don't remember seeing so many before, but they are in full bloom.
Well, from Nashville there, J. Marc, and from Buffalo, New York, Jeneen, thank you so very much for being with us here in the studios of Radio A1A. We've had some technical difficulties and internet challenges all over but we're coming to you from everywhere. But I'm Harry T. On behalf of all of us and the listeners of Radio A1A, thank you guys. We'll hear you on the radio much, much more. Thank you again, y'all.
Thank you so much, Harry. Thanks for having us.
All right. Bye-bye.
Are the chances that we didn't take. So follow me away from all you know. You're scared to death and I'm scared to show it. As the road keeps on rolling, farther from the place that we called home. It's all static on the airwaves out here. The only that if you listen close, the music's loud and clear. The sound of restless wheels against the road. A U-Haul truck that's overloading. And dreams bigger than the western sky. A melody of bigger plans in harmony with second chances. Listen to the song that you hear tonight. 'Cause this could be the soundtrack of our lives.
I write the verse and you write the chorus as the road rolls out before us, past the bridges that we traveled on. When our rhythm's just a bit off time, the key is wrong and the words don't rhyme, we might just find the perfect song. From here on out, it's only you and me. So tonight, let's write our symphony.
To the sound of restless wheels against the road. A U-Haul truck that's overloaded.